this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mayor Santiago.
Here.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Here.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Here.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Here.
Commissioner Cooper.
Here.
I'm going to call for Reverend Sarah Frable from Crossing Wesleyan Church to deliver the invocation, followed by the salute to flag. Will everyone please stand?
I invite you into a posture of prayer. God, we are aware that we are only here because of your presence, and so we would ask that we would respect that presence this evening. Give us your wisdom, give us your discernment, and we ask specifically for your guidance for our Mayor Santiago and for Commissioners Udalvis, Parent, Pepitone, and Cooper. Give them courage to speak and ears to listen. God, we pray unity for our community. We are your children, and we ask that you would help us to relish that privilege. Thank you for your blessings, and thank you for all that you do for us. Allow us to love you like you love us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Reverend. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975. It was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to the statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, are there any review changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we had 4 additions. The first one is a presentation by Tom Holden of Holden Disinfecting Services. The second is a resolution number 7, approving a third amendment for a professional service contract with A. Michael Barker Esquire for an additional amount of $15,000. Item 3 is resolution number 8, approving letter of intent between City of Millville and Symphony Brand Holdings, LLC. Number 4 is new business item number 1 for a motion to advertise for bids for the project known as 5th Street Road Reconstruction for bids to be received on October 21st, 2021 at 10 a.m.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Bills, please.
Mr. Mayor, move bills be paid if properly certified.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Also, Mr. Mayor, motion to approve and dispense with the reading of the following minutes and to proceed with the regular order of business, September 21st, 2021 regular session meeting.
Second the motion.
A motion and a second. Are there any comments on the minutes? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
We'll go right into presentations.
Okay, we have a presentation by Salvador Joya to address the proposed changes in the sewer ordinance. Sal, you have the floor.
Sal, can you introduce yourself and give us your position?
Yes, I am Sal Joya, City of Millville Sewer Utility Superintendent. And my presentation is to talk about some changes I want to do with the, I want to make some changes to the sewer ordinance and some concentration changes. And I think the ordinance that we have now is like old and
Yeah, we have.
I think it's old and outdated, and there's some stuff missing from it, and I want to make some changes to kind of help us with our capacity issue right now at the sewer utility. If you go to the first page, this only applies to like the commercial industrial companies. It's not anything to do with the homeowners or anything like that. This first part with the concentrations, just for the SUI, is they have DEP permits that if you have over 25,000 gallons a day, you automatically have to get a DEP permit, and this would apply to those companies. And I want to change the discharge exceedance for the maximal concentrations and the surcharge to offset the increased cost of the treatment and higher loads. Basically, the concentrations to be lowered that I have is the COBOD. Right now it's 500 and 400, and I want to change it to 400 total. So I'm just going down by 100 milligrams per liter. Our suspended solids is right now it's 1,500 weekly and 250 monthly, and I want to change it to 500 weekly and 250 milligrams for monthly to cut the solids down. Because all the solids we take in from the plant, we have to treat that, and we're paying to get rid of the sludge for that. And the additions that aren't in our ordinance right now is the COD, the chemical oxygen demand. We have nothing for that, and if the city is getting more industry in, and like a juice processor with Oatly possibly, and meat processing and stuff like that, we have nothing in the ordinance to protect us from COD. And I put 800 milligrams per liter weekly. The TKN is total nitrogen. We have an ammonia limit of 35, and right now, currently, we run close to that limit now. So if we're getting more businesses to come in, we need to protect our sewer plant from the nitrogen, or we'll blow our permit. So I put 300 milligrams per liter for weekly. And about 60% of that, the TKN, is actually ammonia. That's what the percentage comes out to be about. And as far as sodium, sodium's not in our ordinance either, and I want to add the sodium because with the meat processing and food processing, there's a lot of sodium, and that affects our microbes that we're growing in our aeration tank that does all the treatment. So I put limits on that to 100 milligrams monthly, or for max of 250 for the monthly for food processors, milligrams per liter. And chlorides is another thing that'll affect our plant, and we have nothing in our ordinance for that. And I put 100 milligrams on per liter monthly. And PFAS, down the road, the DEPs, we're going to be monitoring for phosphorus and some of these PFAS. We have a permit coming up. It's due in October, and it goes in effect in April. So I'm not sure what kind of new limits they're going to put on us, but it could get tighter. We might have tighter limits. And they might add phosphorus and more like nitrogen and nitrates. We don't know yet. So, and then there's a part of our sewer ordinance that has it's geared to trade credits. I don't know if this was like an old thing they did like 20, 30 years ago, but no one's ever used this before, and it doesn't really make sense to keep this in the ordinance, because if you have someone discharging a high concentration of something, you don't want them to keep discharging that and just trade credits with someone else that's not discharging a high concentration. So I think this is something that should come out of the ordinance. And then the next slide is, this is the overage. If you're over your concentration monthly, weekly, whatever your permit says, once you have a permit with the DEP, they tell you what your limits are. So in the past, the old ordinance is the top part of that paper, where if you discharge, like, say, 5%, you're paying a quarter per pound more. And then if you discharge 25% over, which is really high strength stuff, you're only paying 10 cents a pound. So I swapped it to flip it around, so if you're discharging 25% or more, you're paying 25 cents a pound, because it costs us to treat that. And I also added the wording total discharge, because in the ordinance there was nothing saying what you're charging that 25 cents for or 10 cents. That's the last part of the concentration part of the ordinance change. The next part is going to be talking about grease. I supplied you guys with 2 different sheets. One is like an information sheet that I hand out to, like, if we do restaurants or inspection, or so to give them education on what they should do with their fats, oils, and greases instead of dumping them down to the drain. And the second one is a form that I gave you guys that is an inspection form that we give to food processing and food restaurants when we do an inspection. We have a horrible time right now at the sewer plant with grease, and it takes us a lot of man hours to clean the lines It clogs up our pumps. We have overflows. And right now, the whole ordinance is geared towards restaurants. There's nothing in there about apartment complexes. There's let me see. Yeah, there's nothing in there about like apartment complexes, auto parts places, auto mechanic shops. And I think we need to gear up to do inspections on them too, because we don't know what they're doing with their oils and grease right now. And it affects our plant in the lines, the pumps. Our sewer plant gets overrun with Nocardia. It's a microbacteria that grows in, it uses the fats, oil, and greases as food to grow. And you can see the two pictures. One's a clear plant on the left, and one's the Nocardia on the right. And we get that a couple times a year, and it's hard to get rid of, and it's a safety hazard too. It's slippery up there. It's like ice when you walk on. So we're trying to keep a handle on that, and we want to do more inspections to kind of get the grease down in the plant. And this is a picture of 2 sewer lines full of grease. We come across this weekly, trying to clean our lines. And the next slide is 2 pump stations. One on the left, a normal pump station, one on the right with full of grease. It clogs our floats up, it clogs up our pumps, which messes up the electronics, and then it just causes a lot of problems. And then the last one is, this is where I want to include like car dealers, auto shops, like condos, big apartment complexes, multifamily dwellings, senior living. These are all problems where we've done TV inspection and our line is clear until you get to the big apartment complex, and all of a sudden it's full of grease. And then we spend weeks clearing it out. And what I would like to do is kind of have the landlords give the tenants an education, give them the packet to show them what to do with the stuff instead of dumping it down the drain. And then if it continues, then make it that they would have to put a grease trap in just like the restaurants to protect the sewer lines. And the other part of the ordinance I would like to change is there's a part in there that if you exceed 30 milligrams per liter, if you take a sample and it exceeds that, then you could force them to do a grease trap or you fine them. Well, I would like to change it so that, because a lot of times if they're in the middle of a sewer line, a block, there's no way to sample that. So I would like to like video it, and then if it is clear, and then all of a sudden, say 6 months later, it's full of grease, then we know it's coming from that establishment. So I'd like to do something in an ordinance so we can violate them on that instead of the sampling, because sometimes there's not a way to sample.
Any questions?
That's
Chris,
basically it.
Al?
I was going to say, it's an incredible report. My God, the amount of information is
I can
excellent.
tell you that Sal and his staff over there have been working on this. Every one of these changes is a positive change for the city of Melville. It's going to be better for our old sewer plant, which we're trying to work with to improve in a lot of different phases. As you heard the vice mayor earlier in the previous meeting, is that we're trying to work on infrastructure there to improve what's going on in our old sewer department. And it's people like Sal and his staff there that wants to make this better. So I want to thank you. I know that we went over this. I think every change that you've asked for can be done. And the best part about it is it's just going to make it a better sewer plant. There's some parts there where a lot of restaurants are affecting us, and we can't do nothing about it now. We just basically, it's like punching us in the gut. You're the city, take it. It's not fair to all the taxpayers. So we need to make those changes so that we can improve what we have there. Go ahead, Sal.
I've gone to 2 restaurants and they had no idea we even had a grease ordinance.
So that's a problem. But we want to make these changes, and I think, commissioners, I think this is a way in the right direction to do what we have to do with our sewer plant and moving it forward to be a better place so that we can actually be a better service for our communities. So, any questions?
Yes,
Sal,
Sal,
thank-
I
go
have
ahead.
a question. Sal, how much of this comes down to tenant or a homeowner education? as far as the changes with greases and fats and oils?
We haven't really had a problem with any, like, say, per homeowner yet, because I think when they dump it in the drain, I don't think it's enough to solidify and stain the pipe right there, but I think the apartment complexes where you have, like, say, 40, 50 apartments, with them all dumping it together is, what it is it's liquid, and then when it gets into the sewer line, it gets cold, and then it just solidifies. I mean, if you don't clean it out, it's like a rock at one point. We have to use a root cutter to actually get the grease out. So as far as homeowners, we're not too concerned about homeowners. We're more concerned about like restaurants, the businesses, and the apartments.
So my point there is, so even if we make these changes in the ordinance and so forth, what will we do to educate them? Because we'll come back in the same problem if we don't do that.
I want to go to the owner of the apartments, give them the information packet so they can hand it out and educate their residents.
Is that something we've done in the past?
We've never done any of this.
Okay.
But
And so, as we talk about these changes, what are we talking about dollar and cents wise? What have we come across? How is this going to affect the city?
The only thing that's going to affect the city is when we go to do an inspection. Like, when we go to inspect it, we're already videoing the lines now, so if we come across an apartment complex that's going to have a problem, we'll notify the owner, and they can notify the residents. We'll clean the line, video it again to ensure that it's clean, and then if it happens again, then make them do a grease trap. And as far as the grease trap in our ordinance, it's up to the owner of the establishment to pay for that.
I think the commissioner, you're more asking about fines, Commissioner?
Well, yeah, and basically,
A
how is
monetary-
that going to affect the homeowner? How is that going to eventually affect the homeowner?
It wouldn't affect the homeowner, it'd be the apartment complex getting the fine.
Right,
Yes.
or the restaurants or,
Yes, they would have a fine if they continuously dump grease.
oh, and do they have any now?
That's in the ordinance now for restaurants,
So they have none at this time,
not for apartments, no.
or restaurants?
Restaurants, it's in our ordinance now.
Okay.
In addition, he's changing the rates for the industrial users, so there'll be higher income based on the amount of, in the sewage. You flip the rates, that should increase it.
That's for the industrial users.
Right, but
Surcharges.
they're the ones that we have to treat the sewage for.
And also, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Joya, I know that one of the items that was mentioned specifically in the ordinance change that would have very little impact, if any at all, on homeowners or residential uses is the sewer ordinance changes that you provided, explaining the percent over the permitted limit. Because effectively, what we have in our ordinance, to explain it to the public, as has been explained to me through the department, is that the more effluence, the higher the levels.
Concentration.
It's almost as though you have a bulk discount. Your rates effectively decrease with the charge per pound
That's how it is currently, yes.
with the bulk discount. So effectively, through this ordinance, I know that you're proposing to reverse the model, in which case those users who provide the most effluence into the system and take up the most capacity are effectively going to be paying a higher rate. Would that be an impetus for promoting the use of wastewater treatment plants with industrial uses and trying to alleviate that burden on our sewer? Or would the ultimate goal be to accrue more funds through that in order to finance more improvements to sewer?
That's what needs to be done. If they're going over, they should pay for what they're getting rid of, because right now, it doesn't happen according to this. But right now, we only have two companies that fall in that category. It's Oatly and La Monica. And they both have pre-treatment, and they're good right now. No issues.
Did he answer your question? 'Cause
Well,
it's-
yeah, and
it's-
I wanted the public to also understand that one of the items that we're exploring is that it's also twofold. You're making revenue from the fact that you have higher level of effluence in the system, taking up the most capacity. Those industrial uses will be billed higher for that excessive use.
Yes.
Whereas those that are demonstrating every effort to help lower those levels will have the discounted rates per pound charge, so that we're effectively providing an incentive system, but we're also helping to make up for the improvements that we need to make to maximize our capacity.
Yes, and that table only kicks in when they go above the sewer ordinance limits. So if they're under the sewer ordinance limits, they don't even worry about the surcharge.
And Mr. Mayor, I also think that when Commissioner Cooper just mentioned what are the dollars and cents in terms of the literature that we might be seeking to provide to residents, to landlords, to other businesses that might also be subject to some of the changes in the chapter. If I have to prioritize the sewer ordinance changes that I think would realistically provide the most impact, the sewer ordinance changes that you have outlined to address that
Yes.
bulk rate is very much one that we would see a pretty tremendous difference in terms of how businesses approach adopting wastewater treatment plans and putting in for those applications in an effort to work with the city, but then also to bank on the discounts that are provided by not having to pay those overcharges. So if I can provide any feedback, just initial view, the sewer ordinance changes I think that we were looking at for industrial uses, they seem to be more of an immediate impact, whereas I know that Commissioner Cooper, and I can understand this in looking at some of the concerns in terms of, is the city, is the department going to be responsible for literature? Is that something that could possibly be phased in to offset any costs that you might have with trying to provide those upstart services in terms of providing that? But
So Commissioner, you're right on point. Everything that Sal does either goes through me or goes to our solicitor. So before we put anything out, it will be looked
Yep.
by,
Yes.
by the solicitor, and then we will go from there. In this case, you're absolutely correct. Those who are violating our ordinances are gonna have to pay, period. So if you don't violate, everything will be good for the city and everything will be good for those businesses. And basically, that's what we want. We want everybody to stay conformed so that we can, sorry, that was off. I saw the eye. But that way everyone can stay conformed and, everything will be very nice and smooth.
That was my point. Like,
Right,
how do
we want things to run
How
smooth.
do we get that out
Correct me.
before
But-
that happens?
And, we have a lot different ways that we can put out. We can put it out on the internet. I know that Sal
On the city website.
has visited businesses. We went through that phase when we had a real bad grease problem over on the east side of town that involved some businesses, and we actually went out and gave the pamphlets, and then the city went out and made the corrections so that the lines will be clear. So, it's going to be a working process, but we will get the info out. Anytime it affects a business's monetary value or money that they got to pay out, they're going to be asking questions. So we're prepared for that as a sewer department.
Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sal. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sal.
Yep.
Thanks, Sal.
Nice job. All
Mayor?
right, Madam Clerk?
Yep, we actually have two more presentations. We have Mr. Holden, and I forgot to mention, I apologize, Cindy, but we have a proclamation for Olivia Marie Zavaki after Mr. Holden. So, Mr. Holden, this is Tom Holden of Holden Disinfecting Services. Solutions, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you very much.
Services.
Solutions.
Same thing, I guess. I actually do have a presentation, but I won't put it up. This is fine. I've done it enough to remember pretty much all of it. Again, my name is Tom Holden. I am CEO of Holden Disinfecting Solutions. Thank you very much for allowing me to come in and give you a brief overview of our services and how we can possibly partner with Millville on your building disinfecting. So basically, at the start of COVID-19, my company to date has disinfected over 140 million square feet of various style buildings. Some of our larger clients on the retail side include Amazon, Costco, Petco, Barnes & Noble, and Kohl's department stores as of today. We entered into an agreement with Kohl's. But our business model really, our niche is the local business model, mostly on the governmental side. Currently, we have agreements with Camden County, Burlington County, Cumberland County, and in talks with Atlantic currently. We've done a lot of work with Vineland schools, a lot of local municipalities, a lot of police departments, Voorhees, Pine Hill, Mount Holly, Washington Township. I can go on with the amount of the entities we worked on, but I felt like tonight would be a good time to come in and just talk about our services and how we can possibly offer them to your local buildings here and provide you with proposals to do so. And I wasn't sure the proper protocol, but that's why I wanted to come in and speak with you guys about that. Basically, how our business model works is we have trained, certified professionals. I think we're the only company in South Jersey who is actually certified to disinfect for COVID-19 and the variances. The last time we checked, we basically come in after hours, spray a high-powered disinfectant manufactured by 3M, which is literally the #1 product on the CDC list of COVID-19 disinfectants. Basically, it's a 2 to 3 minute kill time and then a 1 hour re-entry time for that product. So I want to be quick, because I know you guys kind of snuck me in tonight to get in here, so I don't want to take too much of your time. On that, I do have a presentation, but I didn't want to put it up here as well. Is there any questions you may have for me as far as our services?
So locally, you're, are you with the county in it right now?
We are currently contracted for...
Cumberland County?
Yeah, we actually are doing the jail regularly. We're doing basically all the jails in South Jersey, including even federal, Fort Dix. So Camden County Jail, Cumberland County buildings and jail, and then Burlington County Jail as well, along with their buildings. We're doing a lot of police vehicles, public works vehicles, and that type. But yeah, but we are under a 1-year agreement with the county here and with a 1-year optional extension, the county. And we actually, the first contract we signed in our business was with the Cumberland County Jail, and we still do it to this day.
Any schools in Cumberland County?
We're in Vineland, so we're doing Vineland schools. We actually signed a deal with the tech school today. We actually have been doing the tech school for the past 6 months, and we're actually in negotiations now with doing the school on a regular basis, the tech school over there, Cumberland. We've done other schools, Deptford, West Deptford, Cherry Hill, but more down in this area, the school districts.
Is this something you do off hours, or do you have to do it during the day? How does that process work?
90% is off hours. Now, if we are, 911 call centers, or they're 24/7, so we will go in and do that with specific chemicals where we can spray where people are active. The jails and prisons, they're a challenge. Obviously, they have to be there, so it's a lot to shuffle people around, and then police stations, obviously, also. But the majority of our work is done after hours, yes.
And how do you measure your effectiveness?
We actually have certified infection specialists on staff, where we will come in periodically and measure treatments before and after. We'll test germ levels and see where they are prior, and then we can show after the fact when we're complete, what that germ level is left when we are done treating particular. I'd actually do that quite a bit. We actually do that with MetLife Stadium. I didn't mention that. We service the Giants and Jet Stadium, and we provide that service for them, where before and after treatments, we do testing for them as well.
And so the liability really is with you?
Unfortunately,
correct?
yes. Yes.
Not the city here.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. We've done a lot of spraying. I think at one point I had 90 people out there working for me doing this, and we have not had a single issue, but it does take a lot of liability off our clients, absolutely. And we had a situation today actually with a lawyer in Cherry Hill where he had an employee pregnant test positive on Friday for COVID, and she actually went out on leave Friday, and I tell you, he was very nervous. So we went in there today and did a level 2, is what we call it, where we go in and do a complete wipe down spray just to ensure that when their employees come back, there's no longer COVID there. And the key here is with this variant now, things have gotten worse. And I thought we would slow down. We haven't slowed down at all. Our business has actually picked up over the last 2 months. Now coming into flu season, our phones are really ringing off the hook now with new clients, because cases now continue to rise. And we didn't know where this business was going to go. If anything, it's doubled in the last three months because of that. There's some fear out there with that. And the liability is definitely key. At least knowing when you bring an outside company in, when we leave there, it's COVID free. For the most part.
Any other questions? No? Good? All right. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Holden. We
guys.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for the
Thank you.
information.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Okay, I think Commissioner Pepitone has a proclamation to read.
Yes, I do, ma'am. Thank you very much. A lot of times we honor our Boy Scouts, but tonight we're going to honor one of our Girl Scouts. Proclamation, whereas Olivia Marie Zavaki is the daughter of Dawn and Roger Zavaki, attends Memorial High School, and is a member of the Girl Scout Troop 54230. And whereas Olivia superheaded a project to earn her silver award, which is the Girl Scouts' second highest honor award. And whereas Olivia is very engaged student and athlete, as she is a member of the Melville High School field hockey team, and is also on the travel team. And whereas Olivia set her mission on a project called Doggy Bags, Kittens 2, which is a program to place a bag in each Melville police car to assist officers when they are rescuing a lost cat or dog. And whereas Olivia was able to prepare 30 bags containing dog food, cat food treats, a container for water, a leash, and a collar to ensure each officer has the necessary items to assist in aiding the animal and keeping it safe while the owner is being located. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners of the City of Millville do hereby honor and congratulate Miss Olivia Marie Zavaki on her hard work and dedication in making her vision a reality with the Doggy Bags and Kittens 2 program. Her leadership and capability to manage her studies, participate on 2 field hockey teams, and simultaneously achieve the high honor of Silver Award in the Girl Scouts truly highlights her dedication, selflessness, and compassion for all members of the community, including animals. Adopted October 5th, 2021, signed by Mayor Santiago, Commissioners James Parent, Ashley Udalovis, myself, Joe Pepitone, and Bruce Cooper, and attested to by Jeannie Parkinson. I want to present you, coming over. Congratulations. Joe, have a couple words to say? About the project? Oh, she's there, okay.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Zavaki, and I am a member of the Girl Scout Troop 54230 here in Millville, and I am a freshman at Memorial. I have been a Girl Scout since 2nd grade. I earned my bronze award in 5th grade, and now I have completed my silver award for this project of the Doggy Bags and Kitties 2. There are three awards in the Girl Scouts, and the silver is the second highest honor that a girl can receive. This project of the Doggy Bags and Kitties 2 started after seeing many social media posts of stray cats and dogs. I wondered about different ideas that the police officers could use to help them catch them, and I finally decided on bags that will be put into the police officers' cars, and the bags contain dog food and dry and wet food, treats, and a leash. I also have extra supplies for them to
Put your finger on it where you stop.
for extra supplies for them to re-put into the bags as needed. There are also toys in case they are needed to calm the animals. Thank you for this opportunity and support for the Millville Police Department, my grandmother Cindy Cook, my troop leader and mother Dawn Savaki, and my Silver Award advisor Ray Hogan, and the Commissioner Popatone. I hope this bag will be useful in helping the strays and other communities.
Once again, congratulations. Excellent job. Good. Once again, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
know we have the fire chief and the EMS chief back there. I'm sure they would like some bags too, Cindy.
Got to expand this, Cindy. Fire chief and EMS.
Do you hear me, Cindy? I said that we have the fire chief and the EMS chief here. They would like some bags also.
You're going to be busy.
So, just so you know. Just saying. Just saying.
After the meeting.
Well, thank you, Madam Clerk.
That's all the presentations, Mayor.
Okay. We'll go now into public comment on agenda items. Anyone in the public that would like to make a comment on an agenda item, please step up to the mic. State your name and your concerns and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Angeline Broomhall, Millville. I just wanted to make a comment on the presentation by Tom Holden. I'm not very clear on what his company actually does other than spray chemicals. He didn't really make that clear, and how that relates to COVID, since COVID is transmitted by air. But I don't understand what he says he's doing for the Cumberland County Jail, because we know all over the state we're getting in trouble for our inmates getting sick. I mean, the county's really in the hot seat. And most important, I'd like the people at home to know that Mr. Holden, who's just standing here, is also a campaign contributor to Mr. Pepitone, to Mr. Quinn, to Mr. Cooper, to Mr. Durella. He's contributed to all those campaigns. So to stand here and talk this fancy little whatever, I want to clean something, not telling me how you're going to clean. If you're interested in having someone come in here and providing some disinfectant services, I would personally request, one, that we don't have campaign contributors doing it. And two, is if that's what we're really interested in, getting several companies who actually do disinfectant services and have a proven record that they can handle COVID to present at that time. But I don't think it's appropriate to have campaign contributors in campaign season standing at this podium that have contributed to 2 sitting commissioners who are also running for re-election. You have to admit, that's really inappropriate. That's really, really inappropriate. Try to show some morality. Just a little bit. That's all I'm asking. Just a little bit of morality for the people of Millville. We deserve that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Broomwell. Anyone else? You have to go up to the mic.
Good evening, Council. How are you? Apologize for the little late walk-in. I know you guys already started. It's a bit of traffic coming up. My name is Andre Rosa. I represent a company called Symphony. We are a company that operates in the cannabis industry in New Jersey and in New York. Reason why I'm in Millville is very specific. A couple of years ago, I've been in the space for quite a few years now, and my background is crisis consulting. I've done a lot of work humanitarian-wise, you know, and basically I understand that the cannabis business, what it creates for a state and for really more for the community, job-wise and economically, is very important. I'm a true believer in cannabis because I'm a cancer survivor on record. I had leukemia. I was in a New York hospital for over 1.5 years, dating back 8 years when I was told I had 6 months to live. I was on opiates, I was on painkillers for that time frame, and coming off of that, my body got a little attached to it, because that's obviously what it does. As a kid, I smoked cannabis, I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, but as an adult, I didn't. And coming out the hospital, I began to go into cannabis, and they took out my spleen, took out one of the kidneys because of leukemia. My appetite was done, and the painkillers weren't helping. The short of it is that, and I respect your time, but I want you to understand the passion and why I'm here, why I chose Millville. Not because I know anybody here, which I do not, but I came into Millville as someone that's been in cannabis for the last, again, 7 to 8 years. In California, Colorado, it wasn't legal here as of yet. So I went over there, and I spent years over there to use it, to be able to do it medically and legitly, right? Coming into what happened now in New York when they passed the 2018 Hemp Act, I was one of the people that came and consulted with New Jersey farmers, consulted with New York farmers, because you have people that are fifth-generation farmers that grow onions and tomatoes, and cannabis is a whole different animal, all right? But they tried. A lot of them tried, a lot of them failed, you know? Moving forward, here comes the crisis, right, of COVID-19 and also the hemp market when the CBD and the isolates, you know, price began to go down, and then COVID-19 hit, all right? I had a company called NYC Laboratories, which was a company that was growing hemp in New York, you know, and we had some farmers here in Jersey. Again, growing hemp, you know, CBD and CBG. Coming into pandemic, everything shut down. I took the same company and I created it into a pandemic solutions company. I provided masks, even in Newark, you know, I provided masks for a lot of people in New York City for free. I started doing testing. I was the one that first did mobile laboratory testing in New York City. We tested over 15,000 people of color in the inner communities. I'm a minority business owner. I had contracts with NYPD, with the 911 call centers. Those are fine, good paying insurance. But I chose to go into communities that were despaired, that weren't on the map, and that's what we did. Reason why I'm in Millville, I'll just give you a little history of myself. Forget about me. Reason why I'm in Millville is this. I've been doing research on properties and on what makes a cannabis company work. If you guys know, and I'm sure you all know, they're saying that 40 to 50% of all licenses in cannabis should go to social equity companies. What the hell is social equity, right? It's not a black or Puerto Rican or Spanish guy with a face that has a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate behind them. That's what's been happening throughout the course of the whole cannabis history, from California to Colorado to Nevada. Doesn't work. Doesn't provide the local. Next thing you know, they find out the company's not even from here, the money's not coming back into the town, and it becomes a crap show, you know, excuse my French. I have a solution, okay, for this town. I chose this town for one specific reason. I looked at real estate-wise, demographic-wise. You guys know North Jersey is already on the map. North Jersey is North Jersey. They're gonna forget about you guys. You guys get the money the most. South Jersey needs more of that revenue, of the taxes, of the jobs, of what creates from that, the pavements, the roads, everything else. And you guys are gonna get forgotten, you know? And the big boys are gonna come in. Not saying you're not big boys, but you understand, they go for the per capita, right? I found a property here in Millville that is on a power station. You guys, I'm sure you may not know that property. I found that property. I did my research on that property. I found out who owned the property. I've done this in 5 states, right? You know, just again, you know, it's not a hobby, it's a passion. I want to see what works better for the community and how I can help, you know, to further the cause. So when I found this property, it has a train, it has water out the kazoo, and most importantly, it has a power station, all right? That power station spits out energy at 3 cents a kilowatt versus 16 cents, which is the average, you know, for New Jersey and for most of the East Coast. Why is that unique? Because when it comes to the cannabis business, the more you save, the more jobs you can create, the more you can put back into the town itself. And so in doing that, I found the property again. I searched the owner down, which is the gentleman right there, okay? Didn't know him before this. 2 years ago, I found him. Okay, I said, who owns this property, you know? Because I looked at all the properties that had a power station, you know, around them in 5 states and said, that's the key. Because if you can save on energy, right, you can create something that's more sustainable. But more importantly, when the big guys come in, when the Walmarts of the world come in, and you can't compete with their pricing, this is how the little guy gets thrown to the side. In any business,
Mr.
no matter
Rosa,
what
you
it
have
is.
a minute and a half.
Okay.
Sir, right here, minute and a half.
Okay, so to conclude, I found this property that had this low kilowatts. I found who the owner was, okay? One of my partners said, oh, well, he did a little Google search and saw that the guy had a story. You know, somebody threw some stuff on his name. Good thing I was smart enough to call my attorney. We did a full due diligence, and I was able to convince him that I want to help to build a cannabis company here in Millville, New Jersey, okay? It's going to create jobs, over 200 jobs. It's going to create income for the whole town. And I came formally to introduce myself to you formally, okay? We're going after this hard. I'm going to be speaking to the governor and whoever else I need to speak to, because I think that this play right here in Millville could be something very substantial for this town. And that's why I'm here today, guys. So please know my name, Andres Rosa. Look me up. NYC Laboratories. I've had 501c3s that have fed many people. I want you to know who I am because I want to be a part of this town. I want to be a family with this town. I want to create wealth for this town. and each other.
Thank you, Mr. Rosa.
Okay, sir,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you so much. And real quickly, this gentleman right here, he'll talk for 2 seconds. I found him as well, and this is more of what, the cannabis board that I put together and the studies they're doing for cancer, which we want to hopefully implement here in Millville.
Thank you.
This is Christopher J. Scott.
I'll be very fast, but just bringing in.
Sir, can you give us your name,
Chris-
address?
Sure, Christopher Scott. I live 65 East 11th Street in New York, New York. I'm a partner with these great gentlemen here. I have an extensive background in cannabinoids, everything from cancer research to business to consumer base relationships and partners with Mike Tyson's of the world. Having a very extensive marketing side of this. Putting more emphasis on the job creation part of it. We're also looking at educational programs that will come out of this. That will be expansive into local communities and colleges. And also just a lot of the medicinal research is going to be coming not only from private sectors, but from grants and other popular spots that are really putting a lot into this for everything from cancer research to inflammation and all kinds of different cannabinoids that are really proven on the market. So this whole co-op that we plan on building out is going to address all these markets and actually bring a lot of great attention to a town that's going to produce stuff like this. So don't want to take up more of your time because he was long, but just we're excited about the possibilities.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come up? I close the public comment on the agenda, or public comments on the agenda, items. Madam Clerk?
Where am I at?
Old business?
Yeah, we have no old business, Mayor.
All right, discussion items,
And we don't have any more discussion items.
petitions and letters.
Okay, I would just need a motion to receive and file a letter designating the following individuals as planning board members of the city of Millville. So it would be Robert Moore, filling the unexpired term of Ed Kasuba as a Class 4 member with a term expiring on November 8th, 2021, and Uriah White to fill a vacancy of alternate 2 with a term expiring on October 5th, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, move be received, filed, and approved.
Second the motion.
Get a motion and a second, or any comments? Always like when these people sign up as volunteers. This is a good thing. Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Reports of commissioners. Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And from the Parks Department, as of today, we have cut 28 properties within the last 2 weeks. Cal Ripken, Fowler Road Boat Ramp, Old Wheaton Property, Delsey Gardens, Churchill and Cedar, Waltman Basketball, Millville Gardens, 301 West Green Street, American Little League, Babe Ruth, and Corson Park, just to name a few. And on Saturday, September 25th, we had our baby show, which we'd like to thank Judges Heather Garrison, J.T. Burks, and Pastor Steve Harris. This is never an easy job. Congratulations to our new 2021 Little Miss Millville, Ayura and Niles, and 2021 Mr. Quincy Hart. On September 26th, we held our first and hopefully annual Hispanic Heritage Parade and Festival. What a turnout, over 700 people. We had horses, we had jeeps, cars, floats, you name it, and the governor was there. The festival was a great turnout as well. Like I said, we had 700 people over there. We had a festival down at Lakeside. After that was finished, the parade was finished, and fun was had by all. Hopefully, again, this will be an annual event that we'll all come out and enjoy, and hopefully it'll be like the Christmas parade. So, now, moving up with upcoming projects, we have the last passive grass cutting on properties because it's going to get cold outside and grass will die. Also, upcoming events, we have the Millville Recreation Department and the Millville Development Corporation have come together to host a riverfront concert on Saturday, October 16th, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Captain Buck Park. The concert will feature the Snake Brothers Band, and Arsenal. There will be food vendors and crafters, so bring a blanket and a chair. Have a nice evening on the riverfront. Craft nights are continuing. We're going to hold 2 more craft nights in October. one October 20th and the other November 3rd. This craft series will be a fall and winter welcome signs. We're gonna make fall and winter welcome signs. So all spots again are filled up, but please email Samantha Cruz at Melville ENJ to get on the waiting list, and you normally can get in if you call. Fourth Friday. So Fourth Fridays this month will be held October 22nd. We're hosting an open mic night. So if you can sing, play an instrument, recite poetry, or have any other talent, please sign up by emailing Samantha Cruz at melvilleenj.gov. There will be prizes, awards, and you never know who's going to stop by. So we want to thank you and hope to see your services and your talents down for the open mic. Annual fishing tournament will be Saturday, October 23rd. A lot going on. At Corson Park, registration is at 9 a.m. Fishing will take place from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We will serve lunch at noon, and the tournament is open for those 5 to 18 years old. Last but not least, the Pumpkin Extravaganza will be held October 30th, 2 to 4 p.m. on Pine Street between 2nd and 3rd. There will be a costume contest, pumpkin decorating, trunk or treat, games, and much more. And that is it from the Parks Department, Mr. Mayor. Moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooper. Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I had the opportunity as well of attending the baby parade with the baby contest with Bruce. It was a lot of fun, had by all. It was well attended. But going back to the first and hopefully annual Hispanic parade, two things that I want to point out. First of all, one of the individuals who was honored was our mayor, Michael Santiago, being the first Hispanic mayor of the city of Millville. I'd like to give him a
Thank you. Thank you.
And you forgot one of our visitors that came.
I said the governor.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't hear him. I would say our governor was here.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty impressive for him to come to the city of Millville. That being said, I'm in receipt of the fire department report for the month of August 2021, and I move that this be received and filed.
Second motion.
Get a motion, a second? All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Jeannie.
And I'm also excited to have two individuals here who aren't usually here. I'm really excited for them. I have a report, but I'm going to have them report it. They agreed to stay and talk about some of the great things that we have from our fire department. Chief Lippincott and Chief Feltus from our EMS. One of the great things, when we started the EMS department, we were concerned about funding. He's going to share with you we're ahead of what we thought we would bring in, and there's opportunities to even do better. With that, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So we have a resolution coming up, and that's the original reason why I was here, in case anyone had any questions. But then Director Pepitone asked if we'd make a few comments. And I'll speak to that resolution, so if anyone has any questions on that also. But mostly positive. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your support. We're now, Chief, 16 months, 7, in operation for EMS. Hasn't all been, perfect, but, we're doing a good job. This is, I know we have an election coming up, so we're going to have a new commission. But this commission, one thing that you can look back on, all of you as a group and as an individual, your legacy of starting the EMS, bringing it back in-house into Millville. I think it's something that all of you can be proud of that you did. And I know, and Chief Feltus, we really appreciate all the support that the 5 of you have given us, whether it's financial, with everything else, the budget. You guys and gals have done a great job supporting us, giving us the tools that we need so that we can get the job done. The feedback we get from the community has been very, very positive. People
Absolutely.
are very happy to know that that the EMS is managed locally, and most of our employees are Millville residents. So there's more of that community aspect of it. So again, thank you very much for your help, and like I said, again, a great legacy for all of us. As Commissioner Pepitone said, I don't have specific numbers, but we had. Moving forward, when we set up our first budget, we had an idea of what we thought the revenue would be in order to offset the costs, and then, of course, there's a certain amount that's made up by the tax rate. We thought we had nailed the number pretty good, and we find what we're finding, and our CFO is here also, is that we're actually, the revenue is more than what we had hopefully projected. So that's a good
Exciting.
thing. We're not 100% self-funded. I don't think there's any EMS system that is, because there's a certain amount of charity care and calls that aren't reimbursed for, but we are doing better than we anticipated, and that's a great thing.
Absolutely.
So wanted to make sure everyone knew that. And of course, if you want specific numbers or whatever, you can get with the CFO. You know, she constantly has the numbers that come in from our billing service. So if you want to know exact amounts of revenue, we can get that for you. And then the other thing, and then Chief Feltus wants to make any comments. The other thing, just real quick, we have a resolution on tonight. Like I said, mostly positive, but we have had a few bumps in the road. When we initially set up the EMS unit under the fire department, we did a set of work rules. We initially set up a 36-hour work schedule. There's a lot of different work models in public safety, especially because of the 24/7 nature of it. We went with a 3 12-hour shifts model where per diems or part-timers would pick up the holes in the shift. It's not unusual. We wanted to build a strong core of part-time employees, so when people were off on vacation, sick time, things like that, we could rely on them to fill in. Unfortunately, and I hate to use the blanket of COVID, but COVID has been part of it, it's been very difficult to get part-timers and per diems to fill in on our schedule. And it's not just in Millville, it's an industry-wide problem. It's not just EMS. We all know employers are having trouble finding people to work. We're no different. So we have struggled sometimes with keeping our all of our trucks up and running like we'd like to. So we knew that we had to take some kind of action to correct that. We tried hiring more per diems, and we finally realized Chief Feltus does a lot of networking at the state level and with other EMS chiefs and directors, and again, it's across the board. This is a problem. So to his credit, he met with his staff. We wanted a collaborative process. We wanted buy-in from the employees. Come to the conclusion that we need to switch to what's called a Pitman Schedule. And if you were to Google that, that's a very standard work schedule in public safety. It's a 36-48. It averages out to be a 42-hour work week. That schedule will have our full-timers working more of the schedule, less relying on part-timers. Now, the full-timers have to work a little bit more, so there's some built-in overtime, but with our budget already accounting for using part-timers that we're not going to use as much, the salary for the part-timers or per diems can be shifted over to cover the built-in overtime. So it's a good schedule. It's going to give us better coverage. Like I said, it's a collaborative between management and the staff to get that done. I believe, John.
Chief,
Ryan?
one point I wanted to add, the fact that we're having greater employee dedication with these full-time positions as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Correct?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And the per diems, I mean, our per diems are good. I don't want to knock them, but most per diem EMTs, they already have a full-time job somewhere else, and then they work for us part-time, where they have 2 or 3 part-time jobs, and they just weren't able to fill the holes in the schedule. So we'd rather use our own full-time employees and have them work 4 extra hours a pay period.
for a 2-week period.
Yeah, the
It's not
42-hour
bad.
work week, and you know, so it's 84 in a 2-hour work week. Then use the per diems who are unreliable. We'll still use the per diems. We're going to use them to fill in vacations and scheduled time off, things like that. So we're still going to need them. We just will rely on them less. And then the other thing, hopefully moving forward, if the revenue stays up, is we're looking at possibly putting on a 3rd ambulance during the day when it's busy, what we call a power truck. We're averaging 500 to 600 EMS calls a month. So that's a lot of volume, and there are times we have to use mutual aid. And again, not just us, that's industry-wide. If you own a scanner and you listen, Vineland, the townships, everyone is helping each other out covering calls.
That's great.
But we're hopefully maybe in 2022, if the revenue numbers are good, and probably using the per diems initially, since we can just use them as needed, start putting that 3rd truck on during the busy time and see if it works. And if the revenue that we generate by picking up the missed calls is there, then we can look to come to the commission to maybe make that 3rd truck a permanent situation during the day. So for the most part, all positive. A few bumps in the road. We do need to fix this schedule. It's an easy fix. Obviously, we need a resolution to do it because it's in the work rules. So I wanted to be able to come up and explain that. And then, you know, I'm kind of like the front guy, but the guy that really does all the work on a day-to-day basis on EMS is Chief Feltus. So
Come on up, Chief.
he wants to come up and say a few words. Obviously, we really wouldn't have an EMS
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for John coming in, and I basically just turned everything over and said, you know, let me know what you need, and he has done an outstanding
Chief,
job.
before you get off of there,
Yes.
one moment. You know, I think some funding is on its way. I think it can be utilized in the very quick future, believe it or not, to recognize some of the needs with the rescue squad and the fire department, by the way. We have the recovery money that we're utilizing right now is one, and the other is the UEZ zone that's coming here, okay? We're working hard putting that together. It's a fact, it's going to happen. Revenue there, projection numbers, at one time was anywhere between $800 to $1 million a year, more revenue coming in. If it's within that zone, we can possibly use UEZ money to help offset costs for that. It's a 10-year grant so far that we're looking at. So there are some good things maybe next commission
We appreciate
can
it.
work with, but just an idea.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wanted to also just get up here for a moment and thank all of you for your support in building the system up. So at this point, we have a lot of dedicated people doing a lot of work. They're doing hard work. They're working good. Things are going well. We've been able to make the difference in about 7,000 people's lives since we've been up and running. The people are very dedicated to doing it, and so, you know, when you take the time to build yourself up into something that's working well, and, you know, I'm going to say kind of the best, and then, you know, to stay the best, you have to work hard every day, because, you know, you can't just sit back, and once you do that, then you start coasting, you lose momentum, and, you know, to be the best is a constant journey, and so we're working that way, and this schedule change will help us take that next step and provide a better service for everybody here. And we have numerous stories of, you know, where there's been, you know, cardiac arrest saves as a result of having, you know, good equipment, Lucas tools, things like that, and even like identifying rapid needs for certain cardiac events called STEMIs and stuff, getting people to the hospital where we have a cath lab locally now, and it makes a difference in people's lives. It makes, you know, the outcome of them better. So I always want to tell everybody, you know, we're not just another ride to the hospital, we're doing other good things. And so, you know, again, we thank you for your support. We would not have been here at this point without all that. And, you know, in the end, like Mike said, we're making a good, you know, good imprint on everybody. That, you know, we constantly every day get good feedback from people.
Great.
And they're happy that, you know, we're back in business, you know, with Millville Rescue Squad kind of thing, for the most part. And so we just, you know, want to keep working on things and every day look at how we can do better. We can do, you know, more for everyone, and that's it. This is the next step for us. So I thank you again for all your time and all the dedication you have for us. Thank you.
Chief Feltus, I want to thank you for including your employees when you look to solve a solution, bringing them in, because often that's where the solutions come. That's a great way of leadership. And I want to share with everyone, when we were actually interviewing for individuals to take this spot, he was, I think, our last interview. I think you were there, Regina.
If I may add, Commissioner Pepitone, I do want to thank publicly both Chief Lippincott and Chief Feltus, who were a huge resource during COVID and trying to keep the employees
Absolutely.
safe. They got a lot of information we needed to make sure everybody stayed safe.
The city has been truly blessed by both of you, so I want to thank you very much.
Commissioner, I think the key word here is leadership.
Absolutely.
When you get leaders that want to do the right thing, not by themselves, but with the people that they're
Absolutely.
over, their team, this is the product that we get in the city of Millville.
Good move.
I remember when we first started with EMS, the negative feedback that we got, people weren't paying us. We were, you know, in the red, so to
Ooh.
speak. And now we're talking about that we're moving forward and we're going places where we want to go financially as a city and an EMS and the fire department. So congratulations to both of you. You know, both of you guys, we have history, and what's important is the leadership. When you have good leadership, you have good people below you that work and want to come to work and perform for you, and that's what we have in our EMS
Absolutely.
and our fire department.
Let's
So
give 'em a
thank you
round
so
of
much for all you do.
With that, Mayor, thank you, sir.
You got it. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Department of Public Affairs continues to accept applications from interested tenants applying for the Cdbg Rental Assistance Program via the city's website or in paper format made available at City Hall. The program is applied for by tenants demonstrating need of rental assistance as well as necessary documentation, while the payment is disbursed directly to landlords or mortgagors as per requirements of the program. Interested applicants may contact Yasmin Moreno via email or by calling 856-825-7000, extension 7341. This evening, proposed revisions discussed at the September Planning Board meeting have been provided by the Planning Department and City Solicitor, as demonstrated by the ordinance on first reading amending a portion of Chapter 30. To summarize explanation from the September 21st meeting of the Commission, the Planning Department seeks to provide a clear schedule of fees for applicants that can be used with an internal guide, as proposed through the draft ordinance and drafted by the city's previous planning consultant, Sarah Birdsall. This guide that adheres to the proposed revisions recommends applicant fees and deposits into escrow according to the components of the application. Therefore, the Planning and Engineering Department have recommended adoption of the fees and revisions to the sections for fences and signs that will be included in the final draft of the Chapter 30 format as provided by Sarah Birdsall. The Planning Department also reports that the proposed revisions to the Chapter 30 draft pertaining to the Laurel Lake residential land use category, as discussed during public comment and examined with great detail by the subcommittee. The Planning Department seeks to review the proposed revisions to this section and present updates during a subsequent meeting, including the October meeting of the Planning Board. With the conclusion of this report, Mr. Mayor, progress.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing at this time, but I might make some comments at the end of the meeting.
Okay,
Move on.
thank you so much. As Commissioner Cooper, a lot of credit goes to your department for this Hispanic heritage, which we never had. And you have a Hispanic mayor, and this is the first time we've had it. So congratulations. I know your Parks Department had a lot in it, so we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I always, coming from Brooklyn, New York, I say you're from New York. So Brooklyn, New York, and I always say that the Hispanics in the city of Millville are sleepers. We're not like Vineland, where Vinelands are more outgoing, more want to be in the public, where the Hispanic community, and I can say this because I'm Hispanic, right? Are more quiet and seduced and like what things are going on in the city. But that Sunday, I don't think it was the governor that brought them out. Number one,
Yeah, it was.
the weather brought them out,
Yeah.
which was beautiful because we like hot weather. And the second thing was just the program itself. It was so thoughtful and well done that you got that kind of response, not only from the Hispanic community, but there was a very diverse group of people there that was very, very awesome. I wish my parents were here, could see it. The best thing is that I walked by their graves
That's true.
at Holly
Yeah,
Cross
yeah.
and North High Street. So congratulations to the Union Department and everybody was involved. And I know Eva Perez, who was
Yes,
running for
Eva
commission,
Eva did a great job.
had a great part in this, bringing this together, so I think it was awesome. With that, we're going to move on.
You're the man.
Madam
You're the
Clerk.
man,
Madam Clerk,
Okay.
thank you.
So we'll go into ordinances on second reading. Our first item is an ordinance approving and authorizing to amend the salary ordinance to remove and add the following titles with the minimum and maximum compensation. To remove title Recreation Program Coordinator part-time with a minimum of $11 an hour and a maximum of $16 an hour, and to add the title Recreation Leader part-time with a minimum of $13 an hour and a maximum of $17 per hour.
Mr. Mayor, move to pass this proposed ordinance, second final reading.
Second the motion.
So if you have ordinance on second reading, authorizing the amended salaries of ordinance to remove and add the following titles as where they were stated. Anyone that has anything they want to say, you can come up to the mic, state your name and your concerns, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Seeing no one, I close the public comment on item number 1 on ordinance. Second reading.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
You
Yes.
said it.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Ordinance on first reading, please.
Okay, one item, we have an ordinance amending Millville Code, Chapter 30, Land and Use Development Regulations, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 30-6 for fees.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this ordinance on first reading with final consideration given on October 19th, 2021, after due publication as provided for by law.
Second motion?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as explained during the report of commissioners, the planning, engineering, and zoning departments have provided revisions to fences, signs, and fees that will be integrated into the Chapter 30 draft, with the immediate changes recommended to take place after a second reading and the required 20 days.
Anyone else? Thank you, Commissioner. Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Consent agenda items, please.
Okay, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Board of Commissioners and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a governing body member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 1 is a resolution approving a discharge of mortgage executed by William J. Gibson for property located at 208 Geisinger Avenue, Block 494, Lot 16. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the tax collector to participate in the electronic tax sale to be held January 19, 2022, for delinquent tax and special assessment charges only. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing an electronic tax sale fee pursuant to the rules and regulations which require a municipality to send 2 notices of tax sale to all properties included in said sale and to allow said municipality to charge a fee of $25 per notice, which will be assessed specifically to the delinquent accounts that are subject to the tax sale on January 19, 2022. And item 4 is a resolution authorizing adjustments in the tax and utility record.
Motion to approve all items on the consent agenda?
Second the motion?
You have a motion and a second to approve the consent agendas. Are there any comments? None? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Resolutions, please.
Okay, item 1 is a resolution appointing John F. Wetstein as Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator to fill the unexpired term of John D. Holquist, ending July 31st, 2022, and effective October 5th, 2021.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second motion.
Got a motion and a second on resolution number 1. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 2 is a resolution approving addendum to purchase and sale agreement to extend the settlement date to 30 days after redevelopment agreement between the City of Millville and Worldwide Jet Charter Incorporated is approved. So this is just an additional 30 days.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion?
You have a motion and a second on item number 2, resolution. Are there any comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Solicitor, do you have any more background on this?
Well, they just, this is the property that suffered the large vandalism
Yeah.
loss, and so we had to negotiate some adjustment in the price, and we finally, got that done. We had required a closed session, and then we finally approved the amendment to the purchase price, and that delay caused them to need some additional time to complete their due diligence because they're purchasing the property. So
It's not
that's why
affecting
there's
their
an
decision,
additional
though.
period that they need.
It's not affecting their decision, right?
No, not at all. They want it.
So we're moving forward with the sale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Anyone
you.
else? Is that good enough for you, Commissioner?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 3 is a resolution appointing Franklin J. Riesenberger of the firm Plaster Greenberg through a non-fair and open process as environmental counsel at a rate of $365 per hour and actual costs as incurred in the amount not to exceed $37,500 from July 14, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
And with that, Mr. Mayor, I have a certification of availability of funds from Marcella Shepard, our Chief Financial Officer, in the amount of $37,500, and move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second, certification of funds. Are there any comments on this?
None.
Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 4 is a resolution approving letter of intent between the City of Melville and True Leaf Cannabis for the purchase and redevelopment of the property known as Block 136, Lot 1 in the Hurley Industrial Park.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second motion?
You got a motion and a second on resolution item number 4. Are there any comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This evening, we have with us in attendance Mr. Wernick of True Leaf. And Mr. Warnick, as many of you may have noticed, was also a very large part of our discussion at the planning board level and at the commission level regarding the concept of allowing these permitted uses for cannabis here in the city of Millville. Having been and demonstrated that integral role in the city's discussions and also having demonstrated through the city's due diligence period through economic development, we're happy to welcome Mr. Warnick here today, and we're also very pleased to provide this prospective announcement of an addition to the Hurley Industrial Park, given the outcome of the state licensure and application process. Mr. Russell, I know that you've been a part of the discussions as well, if you'd like to add anything else.
Really, I think you've covered the topic very well.
Thank you.
Are there any comments? Any other ones? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 5 is a resolution approving an amendment of the Emergency Medical Technicians Policies and Procedures Manual approved on May 19, 2020, changing the full-time employee's work schedule from a 36-hour weekly schedule to a 36/48 bi-weekly schedule, the Pitman Schedule, effective at the start of the next pay period due to staffing issues in the Emergency Medical Services Unit.
Mr. Mayor, I move the adoption of this resolution.
Second motion.
Got a motion and a second on item number 5, reference to emergency medical technician policies. There's a great analysis given to us by both chiefs. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 6 is a resolution approving an addendum to the New Jersey Civil Service Association Cumberland Council Number 18 agreement recognizing Juneteenth as a paid holiday in exchange for agreeing to forfeit Lincoln's birthday, a presently paid holiday.
Mr. Mayor, move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second on item number 6. Are there any comments? No. Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 7 is a resolution approving third amendment to professional service contracts for A. Michael Barker Esquire of the firm Barker Galpin, James and Sarvas for litigation services under a non-fair and open process and an amount an amount of $15,000 for a total amount of $40,000.
And with it, Mr. Mayor, I have a certification of availability of funds from Marcellus Shepherd in the amount of, $40,000. And with that, move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second, certification of funds. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 8 is a resolution approving letter of intent between the City of Millville and Symphony Brands Holding Company, LLC for the redevelopment of the aforesaid property known as Block 260, Lot 5.
Mr. Mayor, I move to table this resolution.
All right, we have a motion on to table.
Second motion.
Got a motion to table and a second to
Okay.
table.
Okay.
Mr. Russell, do we just go right into it? Do I ask for comments?
We have a
or-
motion and a second, so.
Got a motion and a second. You want to take a vote?
I do have an explanation if
Go
it's
ahead.
necessary.
Go ahead.
To provide a brief context, the agenda item was requested for addition to the agenda by Commissioner Pepitone, but was not recommended by Economic Development at this time due to the lack of vetting taking place between yesterday's meeting with the department and Symphony's representatives. It is by recommendation of the department that this item be tabled for due diligence and further review. The language of the letter intent is also highlighted as an inconsistency, as this item is titled redevelopment when city officials were advised that the intent was to obtain an LOI or letter of support for cannabis and the state licensure application. Before resolving those items, it is the recommendation of economic development from whom this resolution should be recommended to table the item until further review can be conducted.
Mr. Mayor, I agree. I think that we need more information from the Economic Development team on this for further study. And,
I'd
you
like to
know,
make a comment as well.
Absolutely.
By tabling this, does that have any impact for the company to be, or have the ability to eventually apply for a license? What we're doing here, we're not making any promises to the company. We're giving them the opportunity to be in the running for the state licensure. I'm not aware of what exactly is going on, but the fact that we're holding them from moving ahead when, after doing the vetting, we find everything is okay, I don't know if it's knocking one other person out of the group that could potentially do good things for Melville.
Well, and
What I wanted to say is that the commissioner came up with some things that weren't in line and allowed the prosecutor, or our attorney to, he was a prosecutor, our attorney to give a little bit more explanation as to what the commissioner's saying as to how things have not lined up, whether it's on their side or our side. Can you clear that up?
Well, it seems to me it's just a matter, some commissioners feel they should have more information, so I'd leave it at that.
That clear, Commissioner Pepitone?
The point that I'm saying is, by withholding the letter moving forward this evening, isn't there like a deadline that individuals have to have letters of intent in just to even be considered to do this?
This would prevent this applicant from applying for a state license, as I understand it, until such time as we approve them with a resolution of support.
And there are a great many hurdles that any company that's going to apply for the license will yet to have to overcome, from the state level
Yeah.
to planning, et cetera. So again, my concern is, if the concern that we have this evening that I'm not aware of is not allowing these individuals to move on, and later we do due diligence and say, okay, everything's fine, we've limited someone from potentially being of service to the city.
And I can further explain it. In regard to that, I know that we have differences of opinion. The fact of the matter is that this was an agenda item that stemmed from another commissioner in another department, when economic development, with whom I work and over whom I'm the director of public affairs, it's my sole role to advocate for my department. So when the item appeared on the agenda, and it was not authorized by the commissioner of the department, I had to place myself in the perspective of, if this were to happen in any other department, public safety, for example, parks and public property, what would be the implications if I were to place a first motion on an item that was not authorized by the professionals in my department, due to only having received a business plan or model at approximately 3 p.m. the day before a meeting, when the authorization to place on the agenda had already been provided. It's, quite frankly, a developer's responsibility to ensure that they meet timelines. We've had a great many developers, especially in the field of cannabis and through the state licensure process, contact the city within due time to provide and in fact carry out the act of having the application prepared and ready. So the due diligence of my department is what I advocate for this evening, as well as for the taxpayers and the citizens of Millville. However, I would also admit that if we have differences of opinion, that my difference is also stemming from the fact that if this were to occur in any other department with any other commissioner, I think that the outcome in the discussion this evening would be by far much more highlighted as a wrongdoing to have placed it on the agenda when it's not the authorizing commissioner to do so. So this evening, I'm expressing my apprehension as provided to me by economic development, and I'm providing that to the rest of the commissioners to decide if they would like to table or if they would like to take it off the table and move it back to the agenda, during which case I would vote no.
Now, again, Commissioner, I would sure and heck like to have more information from your team of economic development people.
And that is all that
to look
economic
at,
development has required.
I'd like to review that more in length and see where we are. So that's why I second the motion. And I believe that we should also table this resolution this evening.
There's a
Oh, can't talk, sir. Have a seat, please. Thank you.
there's a motion.
Appreciate that.
Motion
Thank
and
you.
a second. So we have to take a roll on this.
Hold on. Commissioner Cooper, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I do have a comment. I understand, Commissioner Udalphis, your opinion here, and from one, I could agree with you on that. I probably would be upset as well. However, what we're talking about here is it's a letter of intent. So we're not really talking about anything further than that. We're just talking about beginning the process, and we're beginning a process of something that's really good, or could be really good for the city. So in that respect, or that regard, I would say it's just a letter of intent. I understand we don't have to go, we're not going much further than that at this point, Brock. We've done this, we did this on the last commission meeting where it was a similar type of situation. So I concur with you, Commissioner, but in this respect, I would have to say it's just a letter of intent. We want to give everybody a shot at being in this entity that's going to really help the city.
And I think that economic development has worked very diligently to ensure that they are requiring our redevelopers to have a share in the process. We've seen that through meetings, and I know that Regina Burke, our business administrator, can attest to that as well. We've had multiple meetings that we've hosted with prospective redevelopers, and the process involving water, sewer, engineering has been extensively more, I'm going to say thorough, than what we've seen in previous years. So I personally do not override the recommendations of my professionals, but gentlemen, you most certainly have that opportunity here this evening to do so if you wish.
I have to agree with the commissioner. I think that the fact of the matter that each one of us has our own departments that we oversee, that we have to make commitments and great decisions to keep this city going. And in this state, the commissioner wasn't made aware. Were you made aware of this?
I was made aware of it when a resolution was drafted by the city solicitor and provided to me yesterday. I forwarded it to economic development immediately to find out the situation.
And I understand that we've gone with other companies and we've done what we had to do to get this letter. I have to sign this letter. So at this point, I'm in agreement with both of you commissioners. I don't think this is the end. If all of you are representing this company here, it's not the end. Our next meeting is when, October 19th? 19th. It's something that we can come back and look at, Commissioner, and then we'll go forward from there.
I hear you. The only point that I was making is, I believe by October 19th, the option for individuals applying for licenses will no longer be available. That was my only point.
Is that the final deadline?
Do we know that for sure?
We have other companies that we're still vetting. I don't know about the deadline. I can't answer that question, but I know there's 2 other companies that we're still vetting.
I'm not sure when the
Counselor?
deadline is.
So,
I'm not sure.
so can I say, so that you folks, I guess all you together, this is our administrator, so you hear her speaking, she has a right to speak, okay? I see Brock's on his phone.
I'm trying to look it up and get an answer to
I don't think they've even
don't know
opened
when
the
the deadline
application
expires.
process yet.
I don't think it is
Nobody knows
open.
when it's going to open.
Exactly.
That's the problem. Everybody's sitting waiting.
I think that's the process right
Okay.
now. So we have something, and we need a vote, Madam Clerk.
Okay, so this is a vote to, so Commissioner Udall has made a motion to table the item, and it was seconded by Vice Mayor Parent, excuse me. So we're going to vote on that now. Commissioner Pepitone.
No.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Are you voting to table it?
Yes.
Commissioner Udall.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
No.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Can we go into new business, please?
Okay. I just need a motion to authorize the city clerk to advertise for bids for the project known as Fifth Street Road Reconstruction. Bids will be received by the purchasing board October 21st, 2021 at 10 a.m. in the Commission Chamber, City Hall.
Mr. Mayor, move for the motion.
Second the motion.
Motion is second on new business. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udall.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Sinette, if you want to speak. We've now reached the public comment portion of this meeting. Anyone that would like to address this commission, please step up to the mic, state your name and your concerns, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for your time and for your consideration. My name is Ralph Fusatola. I'm a retired New Jersey lawyer. I'm one of the principals in one of the companies that's coming to you on a cannabis issue. As the administrator indicated, there are 2 others that are also doing that. Your city has made a decision to be one of the cities in New Jersey that's open to this developing industry. And we are in a position to take an important property in your city and turn it into one of the premier growing facilities. We're not talking about retailing from this location. We're talking about growing at a facility that has some extraordinary advantages, including the advantage of inexpensive electrical power, which is a major consideration. We know from the experience of other people in other states that producing enough product for the consumers will be a challenge at first. And we believe your facility, this city, is such a place. My associates include a gentleman who has come back to the East Coast from California, where he's had tremendous experience in the field. and also people who are real estate investors and who see this as a tremendous opportunity to take a facility in your town that's not being used and use it in a way that will produce both jobs and tax benefits for the city. We'll be happy to be back here when you're ready to send that letter to us. We simply need a simple letter that the city is open to this sort of project. That's what the state requires. It is true that the application form has not yet been posted. When it is, there will be many people seeking these licenses. While there is essentially an unlimited number of distribution licenses, there's a very strictly limited number of cultivation licenses. And unless we act very expeditiously, this property will not be able to get such a license. And so we appreciate your efforts, and we look forward to working with Millville. Very, very nice city. I had a chance to drive in on the way down from northwest New Jersey, where I live, and very nice. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the information.
Hi, Cindy Cook, Millville. I would like to thank Mayor and the other commissioners for allowing my granddaughter to have the opportunity to earn her silver award. What you don't know is that most of the time the girls have to form a team to do this. They have to spend about 50 hours doing it. This is right under the Boy Scout Eagle Award. So this is pretty high up that she got. She had to do it on her own because of COVID, and she had to do it with COVID. What you don't know is she's been sick for the last 2 weeks with COVID. She's just recovered and been able to go back to school today. So this was really difficult for her. And you probably noticed, she is my hero. You probably noticed she had issues reading her comments. That's because she's dyslexic.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and in her case, the words jump around the page. So she will be reading something, and a word will either change what it's saying, or it'll jump 2 lines down. So that's why she struggled a little bit to read her message. And she also has hearing aids. So this has been huge to me, and I appreciate that y'all gave her the opportunity to not only do the project, but to do the presentation at the last minute. Thank you.
She did a
Thank you,
great
Cindy.
job, Cindy.
Congratulations. Unrecognizable to me was she.
I didn't know that at all either.
She did a great
She
job.
did a wonderful
She did
job.
a great job.
Joe Sutherland, here's the program coordinator of the Melville Municipal Alliance. And
Joe, right into the mic, brother. Thank you.
Yo.
Yes,
Got
gotcha,
me?
yo.
All right. Joe Sutherland, here is the program coordinator of the Melville Municipal Alliance Committee. And as always, we'd like to thank you for all the support that you give us. And we're looking forward to the pumpkin extravaganza. The Melville Municipal Alliance has been able to purchase the supplies for the pumpkin extravaganza for quite a few years now, when the city didn't have the money to purchase them. And Sam does a great job of putting that together. And we're looking forward to being able to do that for a lot of years to come. Unfortunately, they say we've been cut back 68% on our funding from the state, but that's one program that we'll always support. And we're also looking forward to trying to put our dinner together that we put together just before Christmas. The big thing is now, if they're going to close things down again as far as, groups getting together. So, but we are looking forward to being able to do that. And on a personal level, the Spanish Heritage Celebration was, I was out at the field, and it looked like a pretty good success to me. I didn't get a chance to see the parade, but
It was long, Joe.
good,
It was long.
good.
Next year,
And,
Joe.
Yeah, next year, hoping it to be better.
Absolutely.
And again, like I said, appreciate all that you do for us and for our kids, because without you, we wouldn't be able to put on programs for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for your volunteers.
Kevin Aselta, Millville. I want to go through a couple of different things real quick. One, thank you for the presentation on the sewer treatment plant. I think that actually brings the city up to where it should be, things that we probably should have had for a while. So that's a good protection for the city. So thank you for that presentation. Two, as far as the EMS, I'm so glad we did bring it back in-house. I know we are having some shared services with others like he stated, which is not uncommon. I would love to see that program continue to grow, especially now that we know it's pretty much self-efficient, not perfectly, but better than expected. I know for years, the city donated 2 ambulances to the ambulance squad, and then after 2 years, it became theirs. So we've been doing this investment in public health for a long time, and being now that it's totally in-house and we control the investments, it makes more sense because it literally affects directly the lives of citizens in Millville. Now for the one that, thank you for tabling that ordinance, because when we partner or we are looking at doing something with any developer, any investor, the city has to do due diligence to know who the developer is, what the developer outcome has been in previous years, what their follow-through with their action plan is. Has it changed? Has it not changed? We have to consider all impacts, positives and negatives to the city, short-term and long-term. And if you are doing something that's put on an agenda within a day prior to a meeting, I don't see how any due diligence could have happened anywhere. And I heard the comment that it's just a letter of intent. A letter of intent carries weight. That's why there is a letter of intent, because it's the intent of the city to continue moving forward with a business. Now, whether you approve it or disapprove it, it just tells you that you're in that mindset. And that's why the states require it. So it's not just a letter of intent. Please think about that when you do your decisions. Make your opinions, get your knowledge of it, of everything. And the last thing is the block that it's located. This is the opening eye of the city. Make sure you keep that in mind when whatever development goes on there, that when you're doing a development that's going to be the entry point to the city, it's an entry point that you're proud of and that future generations are going to be proud of. That was the highlight of our city for years. It took us around the world as a recognized city, and we need to get back to that. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? You got to get up to the mic if you want to talk. You got to get up on the mic.
Thank you again for your time. Again, I felt like the first one was a speed date. Just really quickly, and I'll end this here. If you see places like in Millville, the glass factory, where you said that you had a son that's third generation, second generation working at that factory, right? This is what we want to bring to Millville, and I'll tell you why. When it comes to cannabis, and I've been in the industry for a long time, okay? What's going to happen is you open a cannabis company, a conglomerate's going to come, okay? A big boy's going to come, and what happens is they're going to open up 500,000 square feet in Patterson or wherever else, and economically, a small company will not be able to compete pricing-wise. The reason why I found Millville and why I sought after these gentlemen is because Millville has the ability to really create that property, not just Millville. That property with the kilowatts at 3 cents has the ability to create a company that's going to compete with any billion-dollar institute that comes into this state. And I'm a minority business owner, and I want to see that, you know what? I want to hear 40 years from now, a kid say, I am second-generation cannabis worker. Because regardless of not, cannabis employs more people right now in the United States than dentists, than electrical engineers, and then carpenters. And it's going to grow. And what we want to see is we want the little small hardware guy, the small hardware store, to compete with Walmart. We can do it on that property. That's why I found that property, and I begged these guys to give me 2 years for the legalization to happen in New Jersey. They could have sold the property. I begged them. I harassed them 3, 4 in the morning. Don't sell it. I'm telling you, it's coming to Jersey. Give me a shot. Give me a shot. And he did. So we ask you the same. I ask you. I implore you for the same consideration. Give me a shot. You're going to see that with that kilowatts, they won't be able to take us out. You understand? You will have people working there for the next 40 to 50 years in Millville. And again, excuse my enthusiasm because this is passion. But this is why I'm here. This is why I drove here. Not to make money, not to do this, to make history. That's a glass factory you're never going to see again in your life. Second, third generation industrial people. It's not going to happen. But it's going to happen with cannabis, guys. At the same time, it's going to bring the money right back here. Don't go with a company that's going to have a nice 5-year run, not because they're not suitable or they're not smart. The big boys are coming in like they did in Canada, True Leaf Canadian, like they did there, like they did it in California and Colorado. You see they had a nice 4 or 5 year run, and now you see dispensaries empty. You see the grows empty. People that put in $10, $15 million empty because what happens? The big boys come in. We can compete as Millville with the big boys at 3% per kilowatt. They can't take us out. You're going to have grandfathers having their grandsons taking over the same jobs in your town. God bless you. And that's a fact. That's why I'm passionate about this.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos.
And please, food the diligence. I'm excited about the diligence.
All right. We'll close the public comment portion of this meeting. We'll have comments of commissioners. Commissioner Cooper.
Am I going first?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So I want to thank everyone for coming out today at 4 o'clock for our Liberty Village Novo hearing. Feels like we've been here all day. I think we have. But I want to thank you all for coming out, everyone. We love it when we see a packed house here for issues because that lets us know that you care. And that is an example. Again, you hear me talk a lot about the community. That's the community coming out saying that we care. We show you that we care. We have an opinion. And I wish we could have that more often. So I want to thank everybody for coming out to do that. Chief Feltis, Chief Lippincott, I want to thank you guys for what you do. You never hear it that much. And thank you for coming here tonight. And thank you for your leadership. A lot of people talk about our EMS and how proud they are, Chief. No offense with the firemen, but right now this is Chief Feltis' moment. But a lot of people talk about how good it is, and you're going to be an example of what it takes for cities to have an effective EMS department. So we appreciate that. We went through a lot, as we can remember, to really get that going, and we went through a lot of public outcry, and now we're at the point where people are realizing how good it is. So thank you for what you do. Sal, again, thank you for educating me, and I think hopefully a lot of us on what's going on at the sewer. It's one of those things where we don't see it, right, but we know it's working. And now you gave us an education on what we need to do to actually make it better, and we love that, and you're going to be an example for what everyone else does in Cumberland County, I know. And you're going to help us really bring in more business from what you're actually doing, and that's what we want, and to give that kind of economic development relief here. So thank you for that. And again, it's about the community working together. You always hear me talk about the community working together. And again, I'll say what Helen Keller said. Alone we can do so much, but together we can do so much more. So much more together. We're working together with each other, not fighting each other, not putting each other out on blast and trying to ridicule each other. Work together. Work together, and the community thrives together, and you'll see us become awesome together. That's what it's all about. And if Helen Keller can see it, so should we. Mr. Mayor, moving forward.
Well said, Commissioner. Commissioner Pepitone.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, Cindy, you have a wonderful granddaughter. Thank her again for us on behalf of the police department. Maybe she will get some out to the fire department as well. She did a phenomenal job. When you're that age and you're speaking in front of a lot of adults, it's tough. I didn't realize that she had any other issues, but we never picked it up here, so tell her she did a phenomenal job for us. Chief, both of you, I'm so proud of being part of public safety because you guys are there for us. And there's no question we have to ask. You're always ahead of the game. And again, I'm proud to work with you, to learn from you, to provide for you guys what you need, and it'll always be there. And I want to thank you for coming out and staying and talking tonight. And Sal, I learned a lot about what you I really don't think that much of what goes on in your department, but thank you for taking the time to make it clear to us how important it is and how we remedy the situations that come up in that department. Excellent job. With that, Mayor, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Pepitone. Commissioner Udalvis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also like to thank our Girl Scout for joining us this evening and for sharing with us her story and the legacy that she plans to leave behind. I think that for us to see our future generation stating exactly what it is that their goal to see improve the city of Millville firsthand here at our podium is one of the utmost privileges of being a commissioner. And additionally, I would like to thank Mr. Joya from our sewer department. I know that it takes a great deal of effort, research, and preparation to ensure that we have all of the facts and to also propose those revisions. So I thank you for being here and very much explaining that clearly to the public, the reasoning for it, and what the implications are of seeking these improvements. And I would also like to thank Chief Feltis, Chief Lippincott, and also our business administrator, Regina Burke, for working diligently to research and adopt policies and procedures to address staffing. I know that you weren't mentioned completely, specifically, but I do know that from just hearing from our city administrator that Chief Feltis and Chief Lippincott, your professionalism, it certainly does echo and resonate throughout your departments and throughout the city. And as commissioners, we know that when you state your reasonings and your explanations behind policies that you're providing, we know that you've done your due diligence and that you've done your research. So as a commissioner, I would like to extend my gratitude to you and also for our city administrator for ensuring that it makes it to the agenda and that personnel, procedures, policies are all in alignment. With that, Mr. Mayor, I conclude.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor.
Got a lot of thank yous tonight. Where do we start and where do we end? I think we started here at 4 o'clock. Some of us were here earlier than that. But we did have the hearing today in reference to the Cedar Street project, the housing project out there. We spoke our piece. We made our decision to say no. So again, I want to thank everyone. Kurt, I want to thank you and Lisa coming here this evening, expressing your concerns out there. Job well done. Please convey that to Lisa. The gentleman from New York, North Jersey, welcome. I'm in North Jersey a lot too. I always want you to know that. Okay, I'm not new. Some guy down here in South Jersey doesn't know the strings and things that happen up North Jersey. All right, I've been involved there in another lifetime too. I just want you to know that. Sorry to hear you have a cancer, that you're cured. You're fine. Thank you. I'm also a cancer person. We have something in common. We're both fighters. I can see your enthusiasm. I also have enthusiasm. You love what you're doing. I love what I'm doing. And this city comes first to me, okay? What I do and make decisions based on how I care about this city. And I care about businesses and industry and people coming in. It's not over, I'm sure, with your presentation, but I want you to understand that, okay? Chief Lippincott, again, first of all, I'm going to say go Flyers, okay? Gets his attention real quick. What a fan. I see him on TV. He's always there. You understand? I said, yo, Mike. He comes from great stock. As he knows, I remember when he was a young lad running around. His father and I were the best of friends. Former Mayor Lippincott was Mike's father. Truly a remarkable person. And we know that Mike has those genes that his dad has. I know he's looking down. He's proud of you, so am I. I just want you to know that. Again, Mayor, you're truly a great leader. I want you to know that. You do your nationality very well.
Thank you.
Even though you're a Spanish Puerto Rican, I'm Italian, so we get along fine. But your leadership has showed, especially even tonight when we had a lot of discussion in reference to the development out there on Cedarville Road. People, I know each commissioner had their opinion on how we went about doing things. I gave them mine. But again, this is what it's all about, folks. But I do want to thank the members of our zoning board. And I don't want to forget them because they're doing their job. They're doing it extremely well. Mr. Watt, you just have to understand where maybe we're coming from as a commission. We look at things maybe a little bit differently. But they're all volunteers, folks, who serve on those boards, the zoning board, the planning board. They don't get paid for it. okay? They're volunteers, and we can't do our job without the volunteers in certain positions throughout the city. Mr. Worthington was the chairman of that zoning board, and he does a fantastic job. I mean, I listened to the hearings. I don't know how they, it was for hours and hours and hours that they conducted hearings to get to our level. He truly is a leader. But I can sum up a little bit. I'm going to steal his words in reference to that, Kurt, the project itself. And Mr. Worthington said it. We're putting the cart before the horse. And that pretty much sums up the project out there. That's the way I feel. I don't want to steal his words, but that's what my impression was. And I want to thank the commissioners for your opinion and the way you decided to vote. That was great. So again, New York guys, good luck. North Jersey guys, good luck. We'll be around. Again, commissioners, thank you for all your work and the research that you've done. You all did a lot of research on the project that was out there on Cedar Street. A lot of work was done. So again, thank you all. And Administrator, thank you. Brock, thank you for your leadership. Couldn't do it without you, Brock. Truly a remarkable attorney for us. Appreciate it. And Jeannie, our clerk, I want to give you thanks too. We're going to thank everybody in this room.
Happy birthday, Jeannie, by the way.
Vice Mayor, I got to stop you because you're taking all my thunder. He's taking all my
I don't think I
thunder.
missed anybody.
Vice Mayor, this is not your last
Sal.
meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry,
What's
Sal.
This is not his last meeting.
I know, he thinks it's,
I want to be, it's amazing when I have a voice back a little bit.
Wait. All right, let's move on.
Okay, Sal, I got to use a different term. You really know your business in that department, okay? And thank you very much for your hard work and dedication. Truly remarkable. I'm out of
Anybody
here,
in the
man.
stand, you want, give them your name so you can talk about you? No? Great meeting, great information that came out throughout the whole city. We'll see all of you again, I'm sure. Welcome to the city of Millville. We're glad you're here. Make sure you stop and visit our restaurants this evening before you leave. But outstanding meeting, and I want us all to sing a birthday to our clerk here, Jeannie. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jeannie. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. So Jeannie's birthday.
19 years old. 19 years old, the youngest clerk in the state.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second motion.
All right. All in
All in
favor?
favor?
All right. This meeting adjourned. Have a safe trip home, please. Yeah, I have it.